tell.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So I'll kind of start from childhood, I suppose. I had a really good childhood. I come from a really good family. My parents are amazing. I have an older brother and sister, and they're my best friends. Growing up, I was always an athlete. I am the youngest of three, and we were basically like raised at sporting events. Like I would be tagging along to my brother's baseball games, my sister's basketball games. So I really grew up around sports. I played basketball, softball, field hockey myself. We also lived across the street from a playground, and I literally lived there. I mean, I was there from sun up to sundown all day, every day during the summer. So yeah, I definitely grew up with a strong love for sport. What's crazy is that I really didn't start any kind of martial art until I was 23 years old.
That's insane.
It's pretty rare, yeah. So this isn't something that I grew up with an interest in. I really didn't know anything about it. I graduated college and I actually moved out to New Hampshire for my first big girl job. And I made a silly mistake. I ended up getting fired a few months later. So I felt like my life was over. I had to like move back in with mom and dad for the 10th time. And I really felt like I was kind of starting over from scratch. And I tell this story because that week that I moved home and felt like my life was over, I was kind of hopping from gym to gym, like taking advantage of free day passes. And the last gym that I walked into was a boxing gym. And it changed my life. I know it's like cliche and every fighter says it, but martial arts really does change your life if you allow it to. So I fell in love pretty quickly with the mental challenge, the physical challenge of boxing. And here I am, kind of still going strong on a whole different journey.
That is awesome. It's funny because it's like and I mean, I guess in this, maybe now, because I think I'm around your age. I'm maybe a couple years older, but like, it's very rare to find someone who grew up with fighting specifically. Mm-hmm. Like I think our generation is like late 80s, early 90s. Like the UFC was just a thing, mm-hmm. MMA was just so kids now, like my kids are like, put in it at 4 or 3, or like wrestling my nephews, like, and then they like just take off or they hate it. So if anything, it's kind of cool because it's like, you have such a deep passion for it and you're choosing it. You're not being forced by your parents, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I do like that you said that, because I often say, a lot of people think that fighting is like a poor man's sport. Really, more so boxing is mm-hmm. kind of like a poor man's sport. A lot of fighters fight because that's all they have. That's the only thing they're good at, or it's the only opportunity that they had to get out of the hood or to make good money. And my situation was quite different. I like I said, I grew up in a very good family, and I kind of left comfort to start from the bottom and start with nothing. Before I started fighting, like I had a nice car, I had a nice apartment, I had a good job, and I gave all of that up to be broke, to rent rooms, to bounce from house to house, just to follow a dream. And it's been really, really hard. It's been really rewarding, definitely challenging, but so worth it. So
what is the hardest part of that? Because that you can just, and not everyone has the luxury, like go back to mom and dad. Like, that. So it probably makes it that much more rewarding for you just to say, okay, I'm going to stick it out and do it.
I think that I like to think that I already got through the hardest part. For example, I didn't really tell the story of how I made the switch from MMA to boxing. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell that really quick. Like I said, I kind of walked into the boxing gym at 23 years old, fell in love. I did that for about 2 years as an amateur, and while working full time and kind of bouncing around from gym to gym, like trying to find the best training. And I got recruited by a head coach at American Top Team who saw a video of me hitting pads and kind of complimented the video, and I decided to reach out to this coach, and I sort of sold myself as a fighter and said, I want to reach my highest potential as a fighter. I know if I come to American Top Team, like I absolutely will do that.
Mm.
And yeah, so basically, after a short conversation, we planned a trip for me to visit ATT. And I think a lot of people kind of underestimate this experience. Like, I showed up to the mecca of MMA, the best MMA gym in the world, with just a couple years of boxing. And I was thrown into the fire, like thrown onto the mat with a bunch of hungry wolves. And I guess I bring that up because that was the hardest part, was the learning curve, was being thrown into the fire and having to find a way to survive. Um, and it took a long time. Like, it took probably 3 years for me to like build a foundation to maybe win around. So I got my butt kicked for a really, really, really long time before I started piecing things together. Um, yeah, that was a struggle. I faced a lot of struggles, but that's
Well,
just one of them.
and I
But
think that the reason it's so not funny, but like ironic is because you literally got your butt kicked.
oh yeah,
Like when we're talking about, combat sports, it's like it's a whole different type of sore. It's a whole different type of endurance, cardio. Like there's nothing that can really prepare you for except doing it.
oh yeah, definitely.
What is
I'm like getting flashbacks, like
PTSD?
yeah.
Do
Because like
you have go ahead.
not only was I a beginner, I mean, I never kicked before. I didn't know how to do a wrestling shot. I never saw jujitsu before. Like, I really had no idea. I was brand new. And I was doing it against some of the best fighters in the world. Like, some of my partners in the beginning were Tisha Torres, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, like literally some of the best female fighters on the planet. So,
Insane.
I mean, I got killed for years. But I guess similar to my experience in boxing, I knew show up every day, show up every day, show up every day, be consistent, train hard all the time. And I just feel like that mentality helped me to overcome a lot of those struggles in the beginning.
Did you have any doubt that maybe this isn't the thing? Like you just should go back to work, like work.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that every fighter has doubts. I would say I really faced doubt when I started my pro career with a losing record. I started my pro career with a 1-2 record, and it was really, really hard to dig myself out of that mental
Yeah.
and kind of physical hole. Um, I knew that I was talented, and I knew that I was surrounded by the right people, but I couldn't figure out, why that wasn't translating, I guess, to my fights. Um, so yeah, that was a tough battle to overcome for sure. Was having a losing record and having to figure out, why my skills weren't translating to performance.
When you go to the gym to train at American Top Team, you do like are there different days because you had boxing? And was it like an actual boxing gym or was it like a
Oh yeah.
kind of okay, so you actually which is because imagine, like you think you got it and then you're doing like I don't know, cardio kickboxing stuff and you're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god."
No, I was fortunate. I didn't really realize it at the time because I was so new to boxing, but I was fortunate to learn from some very, very skilled coaches. So I feel like I learned at a fast rate.
Mhm.
I came to ATT with just 2 years of amateur boxing, but people looked at me like I was a very well versed, skilled, experienced boxer. Um, So I suppose that that early training and that those good like foundational skills helped me a lot.
And is boxing still your favorite, or now you do you have a preference for any of the martial art, like the forms?
I think boxing will always be my bread and butter. You know, it's my first love,
Uh-huh.
but I do really, really enjoy and love other aspects of martial arts for sure. Like I love grappling. I love jujitsu. So yeah, I enjoy it all.
Awesome. Have you had any I mean, aside from all of those obstacles, mental, everything, all this just
Mhm.
getting there, any injuries or anything like that you've had to overcome? Because those
I have been pretty fortunate in the injury department. Like no surgeries, no major injuries. In my last fight camp, I did have a partial tear in my ACL. So for like 2 weeks, I couldn't walk, and I had a fight like 3 weeks later. So that was a little tough mentally. I pretty much did my whole fight camp at physical therapy. Like that was my priority, was just going into
Mhm.
the fight with my knee as healthy as possible. So um, yeah, that's kind of another one of those things that fans don't realize, like how difficult it is just to get to the fight healthy.
Totally. Well, what do you think is the number one misconception by fans?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. Um,
Okay, top couple.
Misconception of fans, probably how hard fighting is in general. Like I think that it's easy to watch on a screen and think like, "Whoa, what is that person doing? Like, you just got to punch more. You just got to do this more." But like, you really don't realize what it feels like to be in there. Um, so that's probably the first one, the easiest one. But I also just think like all the work that goes in behind the scenes, like fighters work so hard, and it's not just fight camp. Like we work every single day, 2 times a day. Um, and I think also like the sacrifices outside of training, like fighters who have to work or who have families.
Mhm.
Um, you know, it's not just being a professional fighter isn't just training twice a day. Like it's managing all of the other aspects of life while still preparing for a fight is very very challenging.
Mhm. I saw I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Mackenzie Dern. It was someone who went through a divorce. It
Hmm.
wa- and
Yeah,
and one of the I saw like a comment of some she went like she was had her fight going through the divorce,
yeah,
and someone made a comment like, well, yeah, people, you have to, this is your job, like everyone goes to their job, and they're going through a divorce, and it's like, okay, well, it's a little different when you feel like it's your life or death on the line, like,
right.
like actual injury, like, so it's interesting that you say that, because it's like, yeah, duh, like,
Yeah,
because people
people
don't
seem,
understand, they're not understanding, I don't think.
for whatever reason, like people seem to lack empathy when it comes to fighters. And, I know that we choose to do this. Like we're the crazy ones. Yeah, we choose to do this, but like that doesn't mean it's easy. That doesn't mean that we're not human. Um, so yeah, I would say that people underestimate how difficult the job really is.
What kind of advice would you give someone, like a young lady, whatever, aspiring, like this is what she thinks she wants to do? Don't.
That's tough to be honest. I think it's tough for me because do I think that this is a good job choice? No, I don't. It's not. It's just not. It's difficult to make money in this sport. It's very hard on your body. It's very hard physically, mentally. It takes a lot of sacrifice. Like, in my opinion, if you want to be a professional fighter, you can't just do this for fun. Like, you can get seriously injured. It's not a game.
Mhm.
So I do think that if you choose to do this, you have to be 100% invested in the dream. But I think like another piece of advice I would give is, even if you do choose to invest yourself 100%, I would still suggest people to try to verse themselves in other areas as well. Like you might be young and say, I'm going to be a pro fighter one day, I'm going to be a world champion, but that doesn't mean you don't have to get an education or, to get experience basically in other areas of life. I would say that's one of the biggest things I notice about fighters is like a lot of people train their entire lives, but they don't really have other skills outside of fighting. So um, that can cause you to run into some problems, because in that instance, you have to fight.
Hmm.
And I just think that it's important to, um,
Have a fallback
yeah,
because
yeah,
anything can happen, like injuries,
for
you lose the
sure.
passion, whatever.
And not necessarily like it doesn't even have to be looked at as a plan B, but I think that it can be hard when you're a fighter. Like, say you get injured, or say you lose a fight. If your entire identity is wrapped up in being a fighter, it you're probably going to have a pretty sad life because there's a lot of ups and downs on this journey, a lot of ups and downs. And I just think that you should have some purpose outside of this sport. I think it's important.
What do you think? Well, two, your highest high has been with fighting, and also some purpose outside of this sport. Like, what do you think? What is your purpose outside of it? Or do you,
My highest high. That's actually a good question.
face?
To be honest, like I don't know that I've had it yet. I would say if I had to pick one, it would probably be my last win, my last victory. Just because I feel like my hard work over the last 7 years is kind of finally start to come to fruition. It's finally starting to show in my performances, in the gym, in the building of the skills. So I would say my last victory, um, and purpose outside of fighting. So I'm currently a full time graduate student. Uh,
Congrats.
Thank you. I'm studying mental health counseling.
Nice.
So speaking of purpose, like I would say one of my main goals in life, in fighting, in work, is to try to merge my two passions, which is martial arts and helping at risk youth. So my biggest dream is to start some kind of program, whether it's like an after school program or a school program, a community program, in order to help inner city kids through martial arts. So
It's awesome.
yeah, that's something that definitely keeps me going. Um, it's a big goal that I have.
I know that I actually just ordered her book, Kayla Harrison's.
Really
Yeah,
awesome.
I want to read it because it's like, I have two little girls,
Mm,
and there's so much that happens, trauma.
yeah,
And like, it's a hard, like my husband and I talk about it frequently, where it's like, how do you raise a human that's not an asshole, one, but also the trauma that I was through, that my husband, like, that you just, the natural stuff, like,
yeah,
or whatever, like that's what shapes you as a human, and that's what makes you, you know unique, or whatever, like, a fighter, figuratively speaking, or not, or it gives you so much more character.
mm,
So it's very interesting, because once you have, like, people, it's like, how do you make them good people, and not,
mhm.
but not necessarily have to face all the bad stuff to create that character.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Super hard, right? I mean,
Yeah. And it's
I think
scary, especially now. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness.
No, that's what makes life so interesting, so challenging, so beautiful. Is there really is no one right answer, right? Like there's no perfect parent, there's no perfect person, um, and you would drive yourself crazy trying to be the perfect parent. But all you can do is the best you can do, right?
Yeah. There's
Because
you know who Jordan Peterson is?
yeah,
So he has this quote. Oh, I don't even know if he has a quote. We saw him speaking, and he said, and it hit home. It was so good. It was like, the perfect or the best mom is the one who lacks, like the one who isn't, like isn't
Mhm.
always there, isn't always,
Yeah.
lets her kids do, like she just lets them learn and experience, like you have to let them. And it's so true because especially now when they're like mine's will be 4 soon and just turn 1. So it's like this is when they're really doing like, you know, physical harm to themselves essentially, like falling and banging themselves up, and
Yeah.
like you see it happening in slow motion, but it's like you have to let them
Mhm.
do it because you can catch them, but also like they need to learn.
No, for sure. I'm not a parent, so I don't have this experience, but it's almost the same with adults. Like you
Totally.
can't force an adult to change, right? Like
Mhm.
no matter how much you tell them or love them, or like they have to want it for themselves. And people have to make their own mistakes to learn for themselves. You can tell someone the exact answer, but it's like they have to figure it out for themselves. And that can be a really challenging thing, is kind of letting go of that control. And I'm sure it's 100 times more difficult as a parent. Yeah, maybe 10,000 times more difficult.
Because you're like, they have no idea.
Yeah,
Like, don't put your finger in there. Like, why would you do like
yeah. No, I can't imagine. But Kayla's book, I've read it myself. It's fantastic. It's difficult to read, but definitely worth it. Um, she's one of my best friends, one of the most inspiring people I know. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy that.
when well I'll circle back when I finish it because I'm like I ordered it the other day and I'm like I have it just as a downloadable. I don't know if it's an Audible, but I hope it is because I can never actually sit down and read. But I'm excited about it, and I think that that's it. Like there's a, and I don't know if it's always been there with kids. Like were we the same assholes that are out there now? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
or are we just saying it because it's social media and everything is just in your face, everything's so present, but it just feels like things are so in a decline. So it is scary. Um, I know that there's a kids wrestling program, if I remember correctly, at ATT. Are you
Yeah.
able to like? Are you going to merge your what you want to do with that, or you want to do your own thing, or when do you graduate? I know so many questions.
I know. No, to be honest, I wish I had all of the answers. It's kind of tough. Like, I would like to start planning it now, but first of all, I have like 15 million things on my plate. So, my focus right now is fighting. I know that I can't fight forever, so I'm really trying to prioritize my career for the next, especially like maybe 5 years. And my goal is to graduate school. So this plan is more so like my idea for when I retire from
Hmm.
fighting. But there are a lot of things up in the air. I think that one of the first things I have to determine is where I want to do it. Like, I'm not sure if, um, I'll stay in South Florida, or if I want to go to my hometown and create something there. So, once I make that decision, that is going to help me to kind of decide a lot of other things. I have thought of, if I do it in South Florida, I would love to have sort of like a mentor program involved, where I allow some of the ATT fighters to kind of mentor a kid,
Yeah.
uh, whether it's just like life mentoring or one-on-one training. So I think that that would be a really cool aspect.
Well, and you have such a network there as opposed to,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know where home is, but like if once you
yeah,
build your network, it's very hard to like,
I know. I think that the goal will be to do both. To do South Florida, like, because in reality, like, this is my home. I've been here for 7 years. I don't really plan on leaving anytime soon. So South Florida definitely is my home. But my hometown, Reading, Pennsylvania,
mm,
I think that there's a really big need there, and it would mean a lot to me to be able to give back to my real home community. So I'm kind of torn, but I'd like to do both, really.
well, yeah, it seems like you could build, you have the roots, the organic roots where you are, and then have another location and you could go back. Like
Exactly.
it's nice. It's awesome. It's something to look forward to.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like I feel like so often you see fighters who aren't ready to give it up or don't want to give it up. And I'm not saying that that's, whatever, but like, because they have nothing else. So it goes back to exactly what you're saying, which is nice.
Don't get it twisted though. I don't want to give it up. Like I get it. Like I get the fighter struggle. I wish I could fight until I was 6 years old. So I'm still one of those fighters.
What do you think your longevity is in it?
I have no idea. I wish I knew.
You feel good.
I do. I'm 32 years old.
Oh, so we are the same age.
Yeah. I started MMA when I was 25. I feel 22. I don't have a ton of wear and tear on my body because I didn't grow up on the mat. So I feel young, but it just depends, it depends what kind of opportunity is out there. It just depends how my career progresses. God willing, it's God's plan, not mine. So
100%.
But I'm along for the ride. I'll fight till I'm 40 if that's the plan.
I mean, people do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. I think
it's not unheard of, especially now. Like it's more and more common.
I think that like what matters to me is that I'm progressing. If I was like fighting and getting worse or like not getting the results that I wanted for a consistent amount of time, like I think that it would be time to walk away. But as long as I'm improving, as long as I'm having fun and I'm gaining more opportunity in the sport to kind of grow, I'll fight
forever. What keeps you going back, like when you're going through the rough of it, like the thick, when you go back to the gym, because you go every day, twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, like what is it that gets you to push yourself to get there?
I just do it.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's fair.
I mean, like, first of all, I love it. I'm truly doing something that I love, something I'm passionate about. I want to succeed, and I know that to succeed, I have to work hard. One of the coaches at our gym, who is one of the most well-respected coaches in the world, he often says, you never know when you're going to learn your favorite move. So it's like, that's something that's stuck with me. And I agree. Like, I guess I sort of had that. I started with the mentality that I was behind. I started MMA at 25. I was behind. I knew I had a lot to learn and a lot to catch up on. And I just felt like the more time I spend on the mat, the more I'll improve. And I've been doing that for literally 7 years straight. And I haven't slowed down, to be honest, at all. I still train the same way I did when I first started. And to be honest, like I don't need motivation. It's part of my day. I just show up.
Yeah.
I just always show up. Always.
Yeah, it's so interesting when I hear stories or people like they just can't find the motivation, they can't find the drive, and I'm like, well, maybe you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like you got to find something that you like, the passion, so then you want to things that. And it's another kind of relationship, right? Like you think about it when you're not there, like you're loyal to it. Like it's your husband. Like it is it's your thing. So you have to always.
For sure. I mean, I don't want people to think that like I'm super motivated to go. Like I have bad days. There's times where I go and I get beat up and I'm like, I wish I didn't show up today. There's times when my body hurts so bad or I just want to lay in bed. Like, trust me, I have those moments too. But I think that, like, in the past, for example, if there's a day that I really feel like crap and kind of don't feel like going, but I go anyway, a lot of times I'll have a really good session. So, like, I think knowing that helps me to show up no matter what. Because I usually feel better afterwards. And if I didn't have a good training day, it gives me information to improve for the next one. So there's always something to be learned or gained. Yeah, I show up.
That's it. the reps, the hours, the time. It's all about just consistency.
Yep.
That's awesome. What is your current favorite move then?
My current favorite
Yeah.
move? Gosh.
Or
Like
combo or
new?
whatever.
I'm trying to think like of something new that I'm playing with. I would say like my favorite thing that I'm playing with right now is elbows.
Hmm.
I'm really working on improving my elbows with my coach Tiago
Did
Alves.
you watch the fights last night?
I did, yes, most of them.
Did you see Molly McCann's?
I did not. No, I missed that fight.
Watch it.
Yeah,
So many elbows. Like I
really.
was shocked. She looked after Aaron Blanchfield like pummeled her.
Mhm.
Like she looked like a whole new. Yeah, yeah. Watch it if you have a chance.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually a big fan of Molly. I really like her mentality. You know, she receives a lot of hate, and it's unfortunate, but I feel like she's one of those people that she's faced a lot of difficulty. She put her head down. She worked. She persevered,
Mm-hmm.
and she's coming out on top. You know, it's really cool to see.
What she said in her like the post fight interview was I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm just going to do it. And it's because she was like good, but like to say that and to just do it and it like she's a whole different person now.
Yeah.
I don't know, like she flipped a switch. Something is, and so it's really cool to see because like, you know, you saw how she was before, like always loud and excited and that's
Mm-hmm.
something that sells. But like when she said that, I was like, oh shit, like
And this journey, it definitely changes you. I think in her case, it might have been like a little bit of humbling, but I think like also the fans don't help. Like when the fans
mm-hmm,
are spewing you a lot of negativity, like you know, you have to find different ways to kind of channel that and deal with it.
mm-hmm.
But I forget where I was going with that.
I don't know why that just reminded me. I was trying to order one of your shirts. I saw
Oh,
with this because I was like, oh, it'd be a cute surprise. But I wouldn't have gotten it in time, so I'm like, okay, just kidding. But I love those shirts with the blacked out eyes. They're
thank you.
so adorable. I don't know why that reminded me of
Thanks.
it. Fans,
I need
maybe.
to order one. Yes, you can get one on millions.com.
I
You guys KRock shirt.
I will post that here so people can see the website. Okay, so currently you're in the Compact Global League.
Combate Global, yes.
Okay.
I'm currently not signed with them. I am a free agent. I am in negotiation with them for a new contract. So just a little bit more time and we'll see what is up next.
And you wanna you're open to anywhere or you wanna go there?
Um, I'm open to other ideas, but yeah, the plan is to stay with Combate. I really like them. Um, it's tough because I'm an atom weight, and at the moment, there's not too much opportunity out there for 105ers.
Mm-hmm.
So Combate Global they've got a pretty good roster of atom weights, and so I'm looking forward to continuing to test myself against them.
Nice. I wonder why other leagues don't have.
Yeah, me too.
It sucks.
It does suck.
And you wouldn't want to just strictly box or strictly do one art.
To be honest, I'm open to many things. I've thought about going up to 115 again and you know, trying that route. I've thought about just boxing. I've thought about doing it all. To be honest, like I'm one of those fighters that I'm always in the gym. I'm always preparing. So if it were up to me, I would fight every month. I would fight every week. You know, I want to fight as much as possible. I feel like I'm doing all this training. Like, why not put it to the test, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Get more experience. So, if it were up to me, like I would do MMA and box. But we'll see. I'm trying to be patient and see what opportunities are on the horizon and make the best decision from there.
Definitely. When you make weight, do you have to actually cut or you're around your normal weight?
Yeah, I cut weight to make 105. Yeah.
What do you walk? Because you're, I mean, obviously I get it's social media, but you're like lean. And by lean, I mean ripped.
Well, thanks. I mean, I would say I walk around about 120, 122,
Mm,
cut down to 106.
yeah.
So it is a cut. I work with Eric Pena. He is a nutritionist and a weight cut specialist, and he's absolutely fantastic. I literally just listen to everything he tells me to do, and I've never had a problem making weight. So, yeah.
Super, I mean, kind of sidebar. Do you get your cycle?
Do I track it?
Yeah. Well, do you get it? You get your period and everything? Or
I
does it get
actually don't.
kind of thrown off?
I actually don't.
A lot don't. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, I don't anymore. I am it because of my birth control. I stopped getting it.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's probably not good.
I mean, I was on birth control for like literally half my life when I got off it. Like I got on it at like 15 or 16. As soon as I could drive, my mom was like, birth control.
Yeah,
And so I was on it all the way until I was like 30. So literally half my life.
crazy.
And when I got off, I remember my physical therapist was like, and I don't even know why, I don't know why we were talking about it, but he and I talk about everything. And he was like, yeah, well, you should have cycled it. And like telling me all this stuff. And I was like, I never even heard of that. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're supposed to be on it, like the whole cycling thing. And I'm like, why doesn't anyone tell you this? Like,
yeah, yeah. I hear a lot of women talking about this lately. The horrendous effects of birth control.
well, why this? It's a weird. We were, my husband and I actually were just talking about it because one of his friends is pregnant, and we were saying that like it's not that easy to get pregnant. Like if you track your cycle, like so I also just realized that I'm 2 years older than you. I forgot how old I was for a second. And then he's like 4 years older than me.
Okay.
So even when we had our first one at 30, it like we didn't try, but like he had to shoot. Like I knew when I was ovulating, I knew, and like,
Right.
but it wasn't just like, oh, it just happens.
I
Like I
think.
think
Yeah.
that it's a lot harder than people think, and I wouldn't have known that until I like tried, because you literally spend your whole life trying to not get pregnant,
Yeah.
and then when you are trying, you're like, wow, it's not
It's
as
harder.
easy. Like it's not just so easy.
Right.
I don't know where I was going with that, but
No, I mean, it's a very real thing. It's definitely something I think about because of my age. Like people ask me all the time, are you gonna have kids? Do you want kids? And I'm like, well, first of all, I really did not plan to be a professional athlete at 32. Like I didn't plan this. I didn't plan to start a new sport at 25. I had no idea my life was going to be like this. And I'm glad. I'm so glad it is. But yeah, I just say, God willing,
well, and
I'm
it
not.
flies by. Like
Yeah,
it
oh,
goes
it
so fast.
flies
Like it's
by.
not. Oh
It
yeah, I
flies.
like also maybe it's just me, but I am not the planning type. So I'm just
Yeah,
like, where did the last 5 years go? Like
no, yeah,
how what happened? Like how did I get here? What happened?
I agree. It flies by. It's kind of scary, actually. Um, but it also makes me feel like age is just a number. Like I know
Just a
I can't
construct.
fight forever. I know I can't have kids at 50, but like I'm trying to put less pressure on myself to do things by a certain age,
Hmm.
and kind of just learning to go with the flow a little bit more and make decisions as they come. I feel like if I were like married, maybe I would feel differently, or if I had like a serious boyfriend, maybe I'd be like itching to have kids, but I have to find a boyfriend first. So like I'm in
Priorities.
no rush. Yeah. I'm in no rush, not putting any pressure on myself. Just
Are you? This is another sidebar, but only not only because, but you're attractive, and not all fighters are.
well, thank you.
You're welcome. I call it like I see it. But so is it hard to not be looked at as like a sex object by like the guys in the gym? Does that make sense? Like a piece of
Yeah,
meat?
yeah, it is hard. It's kind of a loaded question. Like,
How do you handle it? Especially because if you're not in a relationship, it's easy. Like I was in the fitness world for a long time, so I know what it is. Like all the testosterone and all the and like it's easy. You can do what you want.
yeah,
Like you're the one saying no. Men are stupid.
I'll tell you what, like, I'll tell you, this is me being very honest. I am not good at like respecting people who don't respect me.
That's
Like,
good.
I can't like put on a front. I don't kiss ass,
Yeah,
like
that's
I
good.
very much like mutual respect. I'll be kind to everyone.
Hmm.
I'm not saying I'm like in here giving attitude to people, but like for example, something that I experience a lot is like married men flirting with me, or like coaches being flirty, and
Hmm.
it's like I don't welcome it. I very much shut it down, and I think that it can come across as me being mean,
Hmm.
but they often don't take it very well. Like, I notice that if that happens and I kind of like turn
Hmm.
away from it, that they don't approach me again, or like won't help me
Hmm.
be a better friend. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
so it can be hard. I guess that I try to I try to carry myself in a positive way. When I'm in the gym, like I'm focused. I'm not there to be pretty or be cute. Like, I'm focused on being a fighter and being treated like I want to be treated as a fighter, not a female fighter. Um, so when I'm in the gym, I'm on a mission.
Yeah, I get that. It's weird, right? Like, why do they have such egos, and why do they think that you're supposed to kiss their ass?
I'm not
I know
sure.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't get it either. I never, and it's weird because their egos are so big. Like,
Yeah,
and you probably didn't even do anything to
no,
bring it on. Like, I'm from the Midwest, so I actually have a hilarious story that this is like probably it was before my husband and I met, so maybe like 14 years ago. I was going to FIT and I was walking across the street. I was stopped at a red light. I'm from the Midwest, so I'll talk to the person in line, and it's not just me. It's my mom, it's my grandma, it's my dad, like we are all just friendly. Like we smile at people, and I don't know if it's a New York thing, but like people take it the wrong way. They think you're flirting.
oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I'm like, bro,
Hmm.
I'm smiling at the clouds. Like I'm
Yeah.
not. So literally, I was waiting for the red light, like for the white man so I could cross, and this guy on a motorcycle pass. And I remember I was like, I might have been on my phone. I was doing something. I didn't even notice, and I was smiling. I kid you not. He literally went through the red light, boom, 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 up on the sidewalk to turn his motorcycle around because it was a one way. Came back on the sidewalk and was like,
What's
I
up?
just felt like I needed to come say hi because I never see, it's New York. You don't ever see anyone smiling. And I just wanted to introduce myself. And I
Oh,
remember being like, thanks. How old? Like he was old too. And I was probably 20 at the time, 21. And he
huh.
was probably in his 40s, maybe
That was
even
actually kind, at least, But
like it was so like I don't know. It's like just to have good energy is like
yeah,
such an interesting thing.
yeah, I agree. I'm not really sure.
So how do you keep it away
I don't know. I literally just walk away. Like,
or ignore it? Like you pretend you don't hear
people,
it or you pretend you don't like
I'm certain people think I'm rude, because like I'll literally just be like, ooh, or like walk away, or like ignore. Yeah, I'll ignore it, and I think that people think it's rude, but I mean, I think flirting. I think if you're a married man and you're I think that's rude. Like,
yeah,
I feel
it is.
disrespected. You know, I
Yeah.
I think it's disrespectful. Like, you're disrespecting your wife, your relationship, and me. for thinking that I would be okay with this. Like, I can't even fathom why people would think that I would be okay with it. Like, it just blows my mind.
I think what part of it might be is they need that self, like that reassurance or something. I don't know. It's so weird. I never
I am
like
not the right girl to come to then. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's not me.
and it's tough when you're like sometimes doing, contact sports. Like it's
Yeah,
kind of different if you're hitting the pads or you're like that. But if you're doing jujitsu or you're doing something where you actually have to be in contact with them.
yeah. I had a guy ask me one time. He was like, "Why don't you look that nice in the gym?" Like, I guess he like saw me outside of the gym and was like, "You never look like that in the gym." And I'm like, "That's because like in the gym, I want to be respected as a fighter. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be looked at as anything else, just a fighter." And I don't know if that's really spreading the right message because like there's this whole thing of it doesn't matter what you wear, what you look like you still deserve respect,
Yeah.
right? Like even if a girl's wearing short shorts and a tight top, like that doesn't mean it's okay
Cat
to
call.
disrespect her,
Yeah.
right? But like I don't know, it's kind of a tough thing. Like
Mhm.
I do try to um, just focus on being in the gym and being a fighter, not trying to be cute.
Well, you are, so it's a problem.
I like to say it's because my personality is so good.
Well, that too. Like, when you
uh,
could joke and like kind of be one of the guys, it makes it
yeah,
kind of difficult.
it's funny. It's a tough one.
It definitely is. There's worse problems to have, so it's a
Yeah, that's
fine
true.
problem.
It's like it's one of those things where there's no right answer. Like I often think about. I said the other day that female MMA right now is so saturated with like the OnlyFans era and women being promiscuous online. And I said to someone like I almost feel like my content gets no love anymore because like people are used to seeing this beautiful ass like twerking on Instagram, and it's like my picture like this isn't so cool, so but like on the other side of it, women feel like they're expressing themselves and expressing their sexuality, and it's making them money and gaining confidence. So it's like, I don't know. It's not something that I would be interested in doing,
Mhm.
but like, I can't hate on the next female that feels like it's benefiting her. So it, it's tough. It's tough to be a woman. It's tough to be a woman fighter. It's just tough.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you're saying because there's so many pieces to it where some women
Yeah.
they do these things and they feel it as empowering.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
others are like, and I guess it's just a lot of mixed messages for men and they're already
Yeah.
as it is. So it's like they just don't understand all the different pieces
For
of it.
sure. Some people also say like women being sexualized, it actually helps bring more attention to the sport. I actually did a whole presentation on this in
Ooh,
school.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I did a whole presentation on like whether it's actually beneficial. And I didn't do like a study or anything, but there's a lot of conflicting information out there. And I just think that at the end of the day, like it doesn't it might help bring more eyes, but not really the right eyes. It's not actually increasing respect for women athletes. It's just bringing eyes.
How do you what and how do you think it could respect could be brought?
I think if women carried themselves as athletes, if we didn't sexualize ourselves, I think that we would be more highly respected as athletes.
Because you
That's my
can see like even my husband, he was the one like we're very open. Like I'm comfortable with myself, so I'm always like, wow, look at her butt or like,
Hmm.
woo, nice, whatever. Like I'm the first one that will point something out that's nice. Um, but he said that he sees how in one of the leagues, one of the fight leagues, they take like a hot chick and they run with her, even if she's not
Oh
even
yeah.
that great,
Oh yeah.
because it's like just a whole new, and it's so interesting because it's money. Like they're making money with
Yeah,
the more eyes that are on it, the more money that's made.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's a two-sided coin, you know?
Hmm.
Like, I'm not saying beautiful women for the sport is great. Absolutely. I just don't think that it helps to increase the respect for female athletes. Eyes is not the same. Like,
Yeah,
attention is
yeah.
not the same as respect, you know?
Hmm.
And I think that there's a fine line between the two. I prefer respect,
Yeah.
you know? I want to be respected.
The other part of it is it seems like men, but also women, can be more respected only when you understand the level of difficulty of what they're doing.
Mm,
So
yes.
only like people who train, like who roll or who do some sort of like sport that gives them a lot of discipline, could watch a fight and be like, wow, this person, she knows what she's doing and she's dedicated and she's got the discipline. Like, and I respect her. We're
Yeah.
at going back to the, like in the first sentence that we talked about of, fans, they just don't understand how hard it is because it's
For sure.
hard.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like, this sport is entertainment. Like,
Hmm.
whether we like it or not, it's entertainment, and the fan base that watches fighting is interested in a certain type of fighter. You know, whether it's the way they look or the way they talk crap or the way that they
Yeah.
fight. And that's who we fight for. So it's hard because, like, you can be very much martial artists, but hey, the fan base and what the people want is different. So I mean, that's why a lot of people, like, they say, sell your soul. You know, you have a choice. Like, do you want to sell your soul and, become a person that maybe you are not proud of, in order to get more attention, get more money, get more popularity? Or, are you going to choose to stay true to who you are, stay true to your values, and kind of try to do it the right way?
Hmm.
Um, Everyone has a choice, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a, well, I guess there's no right or wrong. It's
I
what
don't
they're
think
willing
so.
to do.
Yeah. I think that it matters what you value.
Hmm.
Some people value money more than they value privacy,
Yeah.
for example. So it's like, I can't. There's no right or wrong. It's what works for you.
Hmm. Would you ever consider getting marketing behind, like on a marketing team?
Sure. Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
Mhm.
um, like, for any specific purpose, like, just to help build a brand,
Yeah, to
or
help build a brand.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think all that stuff is important. I remember in the beginning of my career, I used to do like a lot of like photo shoots, and
Hmm.
like, I wouldn't say sexy photo shoots, but like, like pretty pictures,
Yeah.
and trying to kind of show this like dynamic, and because in the beginning, like, people told me how important social media was as a fighter and building your brand, and
Hmm.
I gave it a lot of attention, but then I lost a couple fights, and I was like, hold up, you know, I had to prioritize myself, and kind of refocus myself onto what was important to me.
Hmm.
Is building a brand more important, or is it like I need to spend more mental energy on like getting better in the gym and my performances? So for a while, I put all of that stuff in the back seat, and I was like, I'm putting my head down, I'm working. Um, and so now I'm kind of trying to uh, put the two together again, and focus on building a brand.
Well, I'm excited to see it.
It's hard.
I bet.
It's Yeah, it's hard. I
It's
don't
a
really
whole, it's a
understand.
full-time job doing
Yeah,
both of these things that you're trying to do and school. all these things, they're all full-time jobs. So to,
I work too.
and an actual job,
Yeah, it's hard.
but it's worth it.
It is worth it, and I like to stay busy. Like I feel like I am my best self when I'm very busy, when I'm
Mm-hmm.
hustling. A lot of fighters say that they're their best selves, like in fight camp. You know, they're eating healthy, they're sleeping, they're, feeding their brain positive things. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I feel very similar. Like I'm very healthy when I'm preparing for a fight, but also when I'm just busy. Um, there's a quote like, what is it? Idle hands is the devil's playground.
Playground, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
procrastination is like the
yeah,
worst. Same, I
I like to
agree.
stay busy.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know why you just made me think of it. Do you take any supplements or anything to stay?
I do, but not like I should.
Oh, okay. What do you take?
I would say the main things that I take are electrolytes,
Hmm.
omegas. I take a multivitamin, definitely protein, and
Do you
I
eat
take,
meat? Yeah.
yes, yeah. I take like, I forgot what it's called, but it's something that helps my focus.
Mm.
Yeah,
Sounds like it works really well.
that's about it. I'm not very good with supplements though. That's like something that I need to improve.
I
Actually,
started
like
taking,
my recovery as a whole,
that's a whole nother job too.
I'm not. Yeah, that's kind of, if anything gets neglected, it's that.
Do you sleep good?
I do sleep,
Oh, that's something. That's a big piece.
but that's about it. Like sometimes, like it. I think it's hard because I'm so busy. It's almost like one thing has to be on the back burner, and
Yeah.
a lot of times it's like consistent eating. Having the time to cook,
Mm-hmm.
um, recovering, like just resting. I mean, like sitting down between training sessions, like literally just sitting. Um, so yeah, that's something that I need to get better at.
Well, it's always room for improvement.
Yes, you're right.
Um, I feel like we could talk for a long time, but
Probably.
do you have anything else you want to share? Where you can be found? Any fun, exciting things happening? Hold on. When are you done with school?
When am I done? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those things that, like, I have about 3 semesters left.
Oh, so you're getting there.
I'm like 3/4 of the way done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what's hard and why I don't have like a set date is because for 3 consecutive semesters, I have to do an internship. Like
Ooh,
basically, I have to work for free. And
that's tough.
yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that.
I wonder
So
if you can wing it. Like not wing it, but like make it in a way where you can continue building your network and you'll figure it out. I have faith.
tough. What's tough is that like traveling for fights, and I think it's hard because I really want to prioritize fighting right now.
Mhm.
Like I only have a few years left to do it, so I almost wish I kind of wasn't at this crossroad, but I'll figure it out. I
Yeah.
always do. I literally always do.
Well, I'm excited to see it happen.
Thank you.
Of course. Social media handle,
Yeah.
wherever else you are that you want to be found.
So I'm really only active on Instagram. KayRock, KayRock MMA. You guys can find some links on there for my gear, millions.com. That's about it.
Okay.
If you guys want to send mail, you can send mail to American Top Team.
Ooh.
If you guys are in the South Florida area, definitely go check out the Modern Rose. They're basically my family. It is the best coffee shop on the planet.
I saw that. It's literally,
good.
isn't it in your bio?
It is.
It's
yes.
literally, it's gonna, when we're in Florida next time, we are
Oh,
definitely
please
like,
do. Like I talk about it all the time, and people probably think I'm just like plugging them because they're a sponsor, but I'm like, nah.
so
I
good.
literally I basically live there. in my bio it says like I'm probably at the gym or Modern Rose, and it's true. Like I spent a lot of time at both of those places.
Well, you found your spot. It's good.
Yes, definitely.
And it's hard to find good, healthy food. So if you found it,
It is.
then
Yeah, they're amazing. Like their food's delicious, coffee's really good, the environment is nice, but like the people are also amazing. They treat you like family. I always say like the coffee will make you come in, but the people make you come back.
oh, it's cute. I like it.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Have a good weekend.
You take the
See you,
same
babe.
book.